Hello.
Hi.
Hi.
Hi. Hi. Hi. Hi.
Hi, hello.
Hi.
Hello, good afternoon. My name is Christopher von Harlem.
My name is Evie.
Maximilian Patel.
Bonifacio.
Hunter Vines.
Federico Vargas.
Finn Sagar.
Body between Emerald.
I'm from Australia.
Also Norway.
Indonesia.
Dublin, Ireland.
Japan. Bolivia.
Mumbai, India.
Singapore. Saudi Arabia.
Istanbul, Turkey.
Bahrain.
Thailand. Curacao.
Mexico.
Portugal.
Lagos, Nigeria. Germany.
East Coast of Canada.
Mongolia.
Spain.
And I grew up in Hong Kong.
So what does environmentalism mean in my home country?
What does environmentalism mean to my country?
What does environmentalism mean to your country?
To Saudi Arabia, environmentalism means everything.
They've taken up the cause of environmentalism very seriously.
Environmentalism isn't the biggest problem in India. We don't really have recycling bins, so it doesn't mean a lot.
In Norway, I'd say it's quite different. Everyone is provided with recycling bags as well as like compost bags, but we get money back for recycling as well as having to pay for plastic bags at grocery stores.
Well, I see it as an ongoing problem that we have. One of our biggest issues today is the traffic. We have a kind of lack of local transit for people to go in and out of the city, which leads to more cars inside the city. It causes more air pollution.
We're a country that's really based on agricultural goods. Due to global warming, like water's been decreasing. So since our country's been in a drought, it's been really important to preserve as much water as we can and to really be like aware of how we can help our country stay as beautiful as it is now.
We really believe in conserving the environment, especially in the Iberian Peninsula, as there are some species that are endangered. We have the largest dam in Europe. We have become 100% renewable energy efficient.
The meaning of the environment is in some way unclear, because most of the Spanish people aren't taking care of our planet.
We have taken initiative in reducing the amount of nuclear power plants from 17 in 2011 to an expected elimination in 2022 of all nuclear power plants. But it's not the laws or the initiative taken by the governments that may set us aside with other countries. We have fines for not following the right environmental structure, but it's more of our mentality that helps us be more motivated, I guess. For one, we have a stereotype, which does happen to be rather true. It's about our habits of recycling. We are very big recyclers as Germans. And this stereotype says that if we don't, or if you come to Germany and don't recycle properly, you will get bad stares from the neighbors and they'll judge you. Of course, that's not necessarily true, but it's more about the fact that we take pride in doing it and do it out of our own motive and not out of one instructed or enforced by the government.
Back home in Mexico, environmentalism isn't really important and it's not something we pay a lot of attention to. Mexico is currently facing a lot of important social issues like drug trafficking, corruption, poverty, and all of these issues steer people's attention away from environmentalism and more on ways to solve these social problems.
We're aiming for a cleaner, better environment. Especially in Istanbul, we have a beautiful Bosphorus, so there are multiple projects that will go try and clean up, even if it's not as clean as it probably should be. We do make a lot of effort. There's high-tech machinery all over the place trying to make our environment more sustainable. Although it's a very urban city, there's so many trees, all sorts of gardens all over the place. Even on like the sides of buildings, there's a lot of different greenery that hangs down on the sides, buildings that have vertical farming.
Israel, I think, is super unique when talking about environmentalism because you can talk about two things: the actual nature that the people of Israel live in. There's not that much land in Israel. It's a pretty small country, so protecting the land that we have is super important. Not a lot of rain there, super deserty, super hot. There's good things that come with that, and there's also bad things, so I think just kind of trying to keep a good balance. But I also think a really big part of what environmentalism means is to try to protect their people, just keeping their people safe and happy. There's been constant war and hatred and fighting between other countries. They're fighting to keep the environment that their people live in safe and hate-free because life's scary and a lot of shit happens, but you gotta move on and keep fighting. Israel is super awesome. It's hard for them to be knocked down. Israelis are super tough when it comes to keeping their environment the best that it can be.
We're one of the most vulnerable countries. Climate change would reduce our land by 27%, and we're a pretty small country with an extremely high population density, top 5 in the world. 27% loss of land would be hazardous, if not deadly, to thousands of Bahraini families.
Well, it has a lot of value in my country, especially since it's based on tourism, and they have these preserved lands just for it. So they have these laws that say that you cannot build anything, and I agree with it. In a way, it helps us see the beauty in the world.
Conserving our natural resources to the best of our ability. We have plenty of them, and we want to make sure that they last us a while, as well as reducing our carbon emissions, and that's kind of the overall goal in Canada.
Environmentalism in Hong Kong is actually a really big communal effort. It's woven into how the community functions. You know, when I was growing up, I couldn't go out during, recess because the air pollution was so bad. But recently there have been new glass recycling initiatives to increase the amount of recycling. One big focus is doing your part to make sure that all of these sustainable practices that one can do in Hong Kong are being done.
Curacao is taking a lot of steps towards natural energy to essentially fight all the oil rigs that are stationed in the ocean surrounding the island.
Environmentalism has to do with protecting ourselves against natural disasters, education about cleaning up after ourselves and our surrounding environments and streets.
Since coming to the States and then going back home, I think there's a real difference in quality of food. We care a lot for our livestock and agriculture. Food codes are a lot higher. Beef must be traceable back to the farm. Farmers play a really big role still in our society. In the United States, you have all these large factories which contribute to global warming and climate change. Now, that doesn't really exist in Ireland.
To China, environmentalism is an urgent issue.
Looking at government policy and general social patterns, environmentalism doesn't seem to be at the forefront of people's minds. In Lagos specifically, baseline problem is just a lack of education and a lack of awareness of people's actions on the environment. For example, there's a community that's partially built on water called Makoko. A lot of waste is moved into that area by the water, and people live there, so the community is prone to a lot of diseases from the waste.
It means protecting the Great Barrier Reef's dying a lot right now. Deforestation has been really bad, killing a lot of koalas. Yeah, it's not good. Making sure there's enough rain for the farmers. There's been a really bad drought.
People in Indonesia don't know what environmentalism means, and this mainly arises from a lack of education and support from the government, so people don't really know what they should be doing. If you're driving through the city in Jakarta, second largest plastic waste producer, a lot of the rivers are filled with plastic. Right now, people in Indonesia are still burning their plastic. From my house, the closest recycling center is about an hour and a half away without traffic, and in Jakarta alone, there's huge amounts of traffic, so it's extremely inconvenient.
I think one of the most pressing concerns is air pollution. The capital of Mongolia, Ulaanbaatar, is one of the most polluted cities in the world. During the winter, people use coal to heat their homes because modern heating appliances aren't that widespread, which is terrible for respiratory health. And that's really important because the rest of the country is sparsely populated with the cleanest, purest air, while the capital city is so toxically polluted that some people die.
And what does environmentalism mean to me?
What does environmentalism mean to you?
And why do I personally care about it? Because
nature, sustainability, civil responsibility.
To me, environmentalism is very important.
I think it's incredibly important.
It means everything.
Environmentalism for me
is one of our most precious treasures.
As a human race, we can't live without it. It sustains us. It makes sure we're able to survive. So
I definitely think global warming exists. It definitely exists. It's something that we should really be more aware about. It's something that should definitely be talked about way more.
I think I've taken advantage of the fact that I live and come from such a sustainable environment where environmentalism is a huge priority.
Reducing maybe your meat intake, electric cars.
Environmentalism to me is the belief in taking care of our environment and to allow it to provide the best living environment possible for all of us creatures living on the earth.
I definitely think twice before throwing something away. Try to take shorter showers, maybe don't eat meat this day, but at the same time it hasn't had the largest effect, but I understand its impact on the world.
Because I've grown up with recycling and turning off the lights, I would say it's pretty prominent in my life. I think it's important. I think it's something that we need to take more into consideration.
Protecting the native wildlife.
You gotta realize that future generations are not gonna be able to even live here. We're gonna like leave them with uninhabitable conditions. Problems is only gonna get worse. So it's a situation that's gotta be fixed right now. We've gotta take care of it right now. Otherwise, even our own species might go extinct.
Planting native plants, doing garden weeding, like getting rid of the weeds that are like taking over.
When you go to the environment, you don't just see what human world is, but we look beyond that, because the world is so big and we're actually so small, and the environment teaches us that, and especially when we don't have things that are confining us to society like technology.
Even the most ardent environmentalist doesn't really want to stop pollution. If he thinks about it and doesn't just talk about it, he wants to have the right amount of pollution. We can't really afford to eliminate it, not without abandoning all the benefits of technology that we not only enjoy, but which we depend on. I think this quote highlights my thoughts and beliefs. It's not a matter of eliminating pollution as such, because we wouldn't be living the way that we want to. Our standards of living would decrease drastically, and I don't think that that's what environmentalism means. Environmentalism means to be able to reduce and create a more sustainable fashion in which we can live in and which we should live under.
I've gone to an American school for my entire life, currently taking a class called Environmental Systems in Society. The fact that I'm exposed to all of this education is probably the reason of why I really care about the environment and recognize the importance this has on society overall.
To me, it's doing your part and like knowing that there's a problem, and not necessarily like feeling bad about it, but like knowing we all have a duty to protect the world and like see the world become this beautiful place that it can be.
A place that I love and appreciate, and obviously I live on planet Earth, so I know that it needs to be taken care of. I do a lot of activities outdoors, so it means a lot to me.
I guess that's respecting life, if that makes sense. That's like a really vague answer, but I know Walden's a really good book to read. I'm a vegetarian, clears me conscious a little. Don't do anything that destroys, I guess, purposely. Life's life. Be kind to the cow. Don't feed it corn if it's not good for it. And just try to be healthy. I mean, we know how to be sustainable, so why don't we just live by that?
It just means a place of comfort and familiarity, a place where I'm influenced by the people around me.
Because I grew up in a country like Indonesia, I didn't really know just how serious it was. Like, I saw it firsthand, but I didn't know what I could be doing as like one person to like prevent this issue from getting worse.
As a kid, I just go outdoors with my family a lot, and I think that instilled in me just an appreciation for natural places. I'm even taking a class that takes me into the forest every single week. And it's just small things like that, just being able to go hike and explore, that I want my siblings, who are 12 and 4 respectively, to be able to enjoy when they're my age, or my kid. And it's obviously there's a lot of big things to be concerned about, but losing a lot of those small sentimental things, I think, can also, have a lot of consequences.
I'm taking marine science this year. I'm just like learning so much, and I feel like that makes me feel more towards the environment, like feel more towards the place that I'm living in.
Throwing away your rubbish, using a compost bin, because I have one of those.
What does the planet Earth mean for me?
What does the Earth mean to you?
What about our planet Earth?
Planet Earth's our home. It's cheesy as it sounds, it's our only home for now.
Planet Earth means home.
To me, the Earth means home.
I was gonna say that.
It's my home, and I would treat it like my home. I don't want to make a mess, I want the world where I live in to be a good place. No point in harming it.
I feel like I'm feeling more obligation and just more duty to like keeping the earth a great place.
It's the only reason we are here, and we actually exist, so we have to take care about it.
To me, the Earth means nurture. To me, the Earth is our mother.
There's so much that one person can be doing, but it's so easy to feel like you as a person is not enough to make a change. I have to change that mindset, and other people do too.
This planet belongs to all of us, and if it's dying, then it's a problem for all of us too. And I find it special because it's not something like a social issue where one side's against the other, but it's an issue that we all have together, that we all have to fix.
The chances that humans have grown to what they are and we have life on Earth is pretty amazing. So I think Earth is a really special place. I want to do my best to prolong its life, personally reduce my carbon emissions, and be as environmentally friendly as possible.
Well, what does it mean to me?
It means the cycle of life, and we've disrupted the cycle, and while we've disrupted, we haven't done anything to change it, where it's up to us to try to sustain that.
Our planet Earth is awesome, and we should all love it because we take advantage of it. I don't think enough people appreciate everything we have, because you don't know what you have until it's gone.
In order to really have a beautiful world and a beautiful planet and amazing places to go see, I think we really need to make an effort to preserve.
The environment is the planet Earth. The planet Earth is very important.
It's where I live, and I can't change that. Just try to preserve it. There's no need to make this place worse.
As a planet, we have to look not just from our perspective, but like everybody. The majority of the people that will be affected by the first consequences of climate change are going to be in third world countries, or are currently. One of the biggest things that I am concerned about is the environmental justice aspect of it, the climate refugee crisis in Somalia as an example. I think a lot of the countries that like lead the environmental effort do so in kind of selfish, sometimes Western-centric way.
The planet Earth is like a wonderful place. It's beautiful. I wouldn't want any other planet. Like in Bolivia, we believe in Pachamama. So it's like we give to the Mother Earth. The Earth is like our mother. The Earth has given us what we have, and we should really protect it way more than we do.
The planet is a place that we all live, that we all share our space in with other species and with other people. And if we're not able to live in this place as such, then why are we here at all? I mean, we shouldn't be focusing on producing excessive amounts of pollution if we will not be able to share this pleasure and joy with our future generations. Live our lives in a more sustainable fashion so we can show our benefits and show what we have created. And it's about creating our legacy of our generation.
If the Great Barrier Reef dies, then that means that the temperature of the water has gone up too much, and that means all the fish are going to die, like literally, and then we'll have nothing to eat. The sharks will have nothing to eat. It'll just go up, 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 and literally everyone will die. Same with bees. Bees pollinate like everything. It's really bad.
So why don't we make the things right for one time?
Planet Earth is like all that we have, and it's so important right now to like make the decision to help.
And I hope that our future generations can help better the environment, not only in Curacao, but can also help throughout the world. Videos like this and projects that you're doing are just the beginning of something much greater.
Planet Earth is one of the most amazing things ever, and we should love it with all our hearts. Okay, bye.
Thank you.
So yeah, peace.